I show the time as being 7 o'clock, and I will call this meeting to order in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, which is posted on the east wall of this meeting room. Tonight's agenda was posted on 3 public locations: the Eagle Municipal Building, the Eagle Fire and Rescue, and the Eagle Municipal Park. The village board will now stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and those in the audience that wish to participate, please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brings us to item number 1, public hearing. Public hearing for the purpose of hearing testimonies concerning amendments to section 2.02.500 and section 5.08.05 of the Eagle zoning ordinance, as the same relates to the definition of lot requirements of townhomes and condominiums.
This is something that we've known about for some time. This is something that actually Rick Hesterman was working on with Maureen. And if you guys had a chance to read through that a little bit, it kind of shows how we currently define townhome, and then the recommendation, the proposed update, the same thing on the height lot requirements. There's some lot width things in there. There's kind of a before and after sheet, and if you guys don't have any questions, Rick would be a good one to ask.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to this a little bit. We updated the zoning ordinance from the 2007 version to the current 2023 version. There was an error in the 2007 version that kind of carried over. That's basically what the mixed use zoning district is correct. I just basically copied the verbiage from the mixed use district and carried it over to the 5.08 residential district. Almost exactly.
Can you put it in very simple terms and just tell us what it is going to do?
The biggest change it was in the height and lot requirements table, the townhome condominiums column for lot width was stated as 75 feet, which is excessively wide for a townhome or condominium lot. I did some research with other municipalities and found that it was correct in another section of our zoning book and just copied it from our other section and put it to this one.
Anybody else have anything, questions or comments on this? Alright. So public hearing. On to the next. Public hearing for the purpose of hearing testimonies concerning the application of preliminary plat submitted by MDC Eagle 1 LLC pertaining to the plus or minus 80.731 acres located in part of the northeast quarter of a section 29, township 10 north, range 9 east of the 6th prime meridian, Cass County, Nebraska. Yep. Oh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this might be a good time.
Okay. I have 4 here. Everybody's supposed to see one pen. Board should be able to see it. Here's a drawing of our proposed subdivision to be known as Eagle Point. This to your left, the commercial property is 134 on the north side. there's 6 commercial lots being proposed. Those lots will not be part of the project. One other thing, we were here last fall, I think, to get permission to use an SID plan on this project. So just to be clear, these commercial lots will not be part of the SID, only the residential lots to the south will be part of the SID. We have, let's see, 6 commercial lots. We have 84 duplex lots down here. This will be on the northwest corner. Then throughout the subdivision, we have 176 single-family lots. There's 60-foot widths on the north side. As you get towards south, they get to 75 feet. So it's a mixture of lots from 60 to 75 feet. As you get further away from the highway, they get wider, and the houses would be bigger and more valuable. There's 2 access points at Highway 34. There's a right-in right out at what we call H Street right here. This will come in only right in right out. The other connection is A Street will connect to what is the publicly dedicated 4th Street right here. We'll have to complete the construction of that street, connect to A Street, and that will be a full access exit out of this onto Highway 34, so you can go left and right in that area. The street here is wide enough. When it's 34 feet, there's going to be wide. There's enough width so that there'll be a left turn lane and a right turn lane, and so it'll be basically 3 lanes, 1 coming in, 2 going out. There's access points. There's some outlots throughout the subdivision that are dedicated open space. A few outlots will be detention basins, but the open spaces, outlot B, outlot C, I think there's an outlet down here, outlot E, there's an outlot F that brings connectivity in this area between streets D and E. There's a basin down in the corner, basin up in that corner. The mixture of commercial with residential does comply with your comprehensive plan. I guess a few things to address. The planning commission did approve this on 5-1 vote. Recommended approval, I should say. Some of the issues that we went over during that meeting that I should probably address here. One of the major issues was access in and out of the subdivision. Of course, there's coming into the subdivision. We did. NDOT did require a decel lane here coming into the Street H. So coming from the east, from the west, there's a right turn into the subdivision, there'll be a turn lane there. Of course, there's some concern about the number of houses, the number of vehicles leaving the subdivision. I will point out that there's plenty of access going in and out on the 4th Street, both left and right turns. There's a right out on 8th Street. We'll be working with the NDOT on creating a median there to prevent people from going left at that turn. We have been in contact with the NDOT. There's a few things that came up at the planning commission meeting and since the planning commission meeting. I know that the board indicated they would want some confirmation from NDOT that we have access at these points, particularly the right in, right out access. We have requested that confirmation. We have not received it yet. We did contact them since the planning commission meeting, but we have not heard back from them yet. I also understand in talking to Maureen that there's a 60-day requirement to allow NDOT to comment on the preliminary plat before they can take action on it. I understand that this preliminary plat was given to them on April 1, so it's going to get to June 1 before we can take action on it. But in talking to Maureen, we thought that it would be appropriate to move forward with this public hearing and any action you take would be subject to a conditional upon addressing the comments by any of the teams. We did, like I said, when we were preparing the plat, we did contact them regarding this right out, and this access point, we don't have written confirmation that those are, so those are both conversations between the engineer, somebody and the chief. So we will get that confirmation. We will also, obviously, we would ask that if you take action on tonight, the commission will allow the chief to provide comments to this plan. There's some discussion regarding if there's a corridor of some sort, a no-build area along Highway 34. We have not confirmed that. We don't believe this exists, but like I said, we're trying to get hold of the MDOT to talk to them about that. I reviewed the title on this when we purchased the property. I did not see anything that would indicate that there's a road restriction in that area, but we will make that comment. Apparently, there might have been an issue with the traffic study. I think your engineer may have had an issue with the traffic study. I don't know exactly what those are. I know Joe Flaxter, the district engineer, the developer's engineer, had some contact with your engineer since the meeting, the planning commission meeting. I was not privy to his conversations, and I understand Joe talking to her about the traffic study. We can get those issues defined before we submit the final plan, assuming that you approve it. The park space, I should say, open space requirements in your code. I did talk to Maureen, and we had some conversations about some communication about how much park space we need to have for this subdivision. It's my understanding that based on your code that we would require 12.88 acres to be park space or open space. What we have proposed here is around just a little over 4 acres, so like 4.6 acres, I believe it is. So we would be willing to, obviously that's dedicated open space. We would be willing to pay my understanding is $1,500 a lot for in lieu of park fee, basically in lieu of dedicated park space. Since we are proposing some dedication, there would have to be some allocation of how you figure that payment. We're proposing, so we're making up, if you look at numbers, we're making up about 30, we're proposing about 35% of what is required. So we would allow a credit of that amount against the park fee.
So what good are those outlots though? They're not together. Some are drainage, some are retention ponds.
I'm only talking about these outlets here. These outlets provide connectivity. These are open space between the townhomes and duplex lots.
Yeah, but to me that doesn't justify a park.
Well, it doesn't have to be a park. It has to be open space. And I think those are open spaces.
You have to look at our rules. It includes trails, etc. So that's something that you
So
guys
there's
can
sidewalks.
It does qualify.
not for the detention dams.
No, we're not counting it.
No,
They're
we're
not.
counting those
We're
corners.
only counting, I think, just this area right here.
One of the other
I'm not sure
downsides
I'm not
of,
sure. We're probably
I
counting it too.
kind of tend to agree a little bit with Terry. If it qualifies, it kind of stinks that it does because it's usable. Yeah, there's a trail back there, but I mean, you can't put park equipment back there. You can't. It's just going to be more green grass area that we're going to have to pay our employees to maintain.
20 years.
Eventually have to pay. While it's still in SID, you guys will have to pay for it, but eventually it will potentially come out of SID, and at that point, we're going to have to pay our employees to maintain it and keep it clean and stuff like that. So that's one of my concerns about that particular green space that you're including in the behind the townhomes. That how much are other than the townhome people? extending their backyards and taking advantage of it, it's not gonna help that much elsewhere, for other citizens.
Let me address this a little bit from a planning commission point of view. So, yeah, I don't really like that either, but that is what is allowed in
Yep.
our regulations. So it's really not debatable.
Yeah.
I debated it a little bit at the planning commission, but it's allowed.
Mhm.
Something that I will forward to you. In their original plan for the east 88 acres, when they planned that, I don't know, a year and a half ago, it indicated, I'm going to move that so everyone saw that. So in that plan, so this is the farmstead. You all know where the farmstead is.
That's Dollar General.
Oh, excuse me. The farmstead, over in here, they had 17 acres set aside for a school. It's very debatable if we ever get a school over there, but that would be an ideal place for a 15 to 20 acre community park, and I think that's what we're looking at, is a community park, kind of like what we have. Okay, so it depends on how many homes are placed over here. So it's up to you. You have the ability to say, you know, this is what we want. Okay. Supposing that they end up buying and building this, then it's up to the board. They have the ability to say, we do want, and you may have to pay for some of it, but yes, we do want 15 to 20 acres here, enough for some ball fields, green space, playground, bathrooms, etc. And I think that's what you really need to look at and keep in mind for what I'm going to call possibly the phase 2 development part. So these outlet lots here are not part of the, it's A, B, C, D, and E, I believe, outlots in this area are what they're doing for park space. So we're going to get considerable money that we can put into savings if and or when we build a community park with ball fields, etc.
Under the current proposal.
Under the proposal. Yep.
So yeah, he makes a good point. Phase 2, obviously this development goes well. Phase 2 will be developed and we could provide additional functions. But for the time being, just the way this is laid out and what we need for homes and value, we're proposing the more limited open space, and we would pay, yes, I would pay the fees for in the payment. One of the, we do have before you, I think there's one thing that you have to deal with is the waiver of the block length regulation. I think it's a 600-foot block length regulation. I think it affects this block length here, and what it basically requires, if we wanted to comply with that, we have to bring a walking connection from here through these and connect these street C to street D. The problem with that is that this topography is a little steep right there, and we would not be able to get an ADA compliant trail in that area. So we asked for a waiver for that block length requirement, and the planning commission did make those findings, and I'll let Maureen tell you what findings you need to make in order to approve that block length waiver. I'm trying to think what else. There's a couple other things. Oh, the pedestrian crosswalk across Highway 34. As this subdivision develops, of course, there may be some pedestrian traffic trying to get across Highway 34 for various reasons. That's one of the issues we need to talk to him NDOT route. We have not confirmed that that will be allowed or how that would work. So that will be something we will work out through before we submit the final plat. There was a question of the rural buyout of the rural water district rights to provide water service in this area. I did contact after the meeting, the planning commission meeting, I did talk to the attorney for the Cass County Rural Water District, and I have not yet received the information, but I am anticipating he's going to send me something that would indicate that there will be a buyout fee of a certain price per acre. He thought it might be around $300,000 to $400,000 per acre. So if that's the case, I don't think that should not be a problem. That we just pay that.
What does that really mean to us?
Well, it doesn't mean anything to you in terms of you're still going to be providing water, we're getting water service for you. What that means is that there's a federal statute that says that if land is brought into a municipal corporation, such as if you annex that property, if the city would annex the property, that the city would have to pay a fee because you're curtailing the rural water district's ability to provide water service to those acres. But you're not annexing this property now because we're going to have an SID. But the SID is technically a municipal corporation as well. So by bringing this land into the boundaries of the SID, then there's technically a fee paid. I question whether it's actually payable because they can't provide us with water service anyway. But that's kind of a legal issue as to whether or not they can actually charge the fee. Once I get the information about what they're going to charge, we'll make a determination whether to push back or not. I don't know. I doubt it. My guess is that if it's a nominal fee like I'm thinking, then we'll probably have to go ahead and pay the fee. So, but that's not going to affect you guys. We're still getting water service from the city. We did not pay on Eagles Landing. I will point out we did not pay a fee. We had a SID up there. We did not pay a fee there. They never asked us to pay the fee. So why we're paying the fee here, we did not pay it on the other SID development. I don't know. But that's a discussion on it. Rural water district.
It's not our issue, in other words. It's not the village's issue. It's more the issue with rural water and the SID.
Yeah. I think there was some questions, water pressure, water capacity. At the planning commission meeting, your engineer was here at the time and confirmed that both are adequate at this point.
But didn't they say that we would be maxed out at that point?
I think that after this subdivision.
They said another subdivision would probably need a new.
Yeah. So that would be
close. I don't think they said maxed on the sewer. They said we'll be right.
I think it said sewer as well.
And the sewer is not quite as bad, but they'll be looking at that.
It will put us close enough that we will need to be building something by the time they get completely done, just so we're not behind the curve.
I get that, but then that's our expense totally. And when we moved here, we were told that the sewer prices would go up and then they come back down, and they never did. But my concern is to put this many houses in Eagle now is going to deplete our water, and that's our water. And I moved here because it was a small town, and I don't want that many houses added to because I don't see the benefit to Eagle. I really don't, because it's going to be 20 years before we get tax dollars out of those lots. And then when we do get 20 years down the road, we're going to inherit a 20-year-old system. Plus, we're going to have to pay for a water tower ourselves and a sewer system ourselves just because we let them do this development.
You're getting revenue from the water source.
Very little, though. That's not going to pay for a water tower and a sewer system.
Not alone. But if they will be paying 175% of our water.
I get that. I understand.
So it will contribute.
It will contribute, but it won't take care of it. And then the rest of us that live here could be out of water.
So per their water study that came out 2-3 years ago, we had the engineering firm do. It said in there outright that we're going to have problems, whether there's another big development coming along the road or not.
So why do we want to add to it?
You know, we would still have this issue. This helps us subsidize some of that cost.
Very little.
I don't know. There's a lot of lots with a lot of bills.
Yeah.
If you put out a bond on that, hey, since they're the users, they have to pay the bond just as much as the people in
I
town
get that,
do.
but it's also gonna tax our school system, so then there'll probably be another bond for that, because all these people live here now. And I moved here for a small town. That's not making it a small town.
The school system does get tax dollars that are generated by the valuation. We're talking $60 million.
I get that, but we're also adding a lot to the school system that they don't have right now. And those kids will have to cross 34. I called the NDOT when they put in a light at 148th, and I said, it's too fast. The guy told me very clearly, 3 people have to die before they'll do anything. And my husband did the same email, and they said 3 people. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Can I ask you a different question, though? If you come to the post office or emergency management systems, we've got an A Street here in town, we've got an A Street down in the country, miles south, and now you're gonna name one street A. Do they foresee that as a problem?
No, these will be named. These are.
Those are not the real names.
These are not, no, we just didn't have.
Okay.
Those will be named on the final.
Yeah, these won't be, what we told them was, we still need to come up with a naming scheme because we don't want to confuse streets north and south. It'll be too
No.
confusing. So they've just come up with placeholders for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's all I have. Do we have any other specific questions?
I'll just go over a few of the planning commission notes here and raise a few points.
Sure.
Okay. Let me see, where do I want to go? So he's covered the rural water. I'm going from lesser importance up to the greater importance of the issues. And I understand your issue about the utilities. I really do. I calculate 3 people per home. Rule of thumb says each person uses about 80 gallons. That figures out to be 62,880 gallons a day. Okay. And Nick, the drinking water amount, just drinking without watering yards and stuff, would you say is 80,000 covers it? It's probably not even quite that in the winter.
For the
Just drinking water.
total town,
Yeah,
Yeah.
total town.
if not a little less.
About 80, so 80 and 70, 150-ish, 160,000. We have a capacity of 250. Now, what will happen is it will bump up significantly when people water their yards and stuff. It'll probably, when that's all developed, it'll exceed 250,000, which means at that point we will have to have another water tower. Just whether we like it or not, and I'm trying to address both sides here, positive and negative. At that point, you got to decide how fast is that going to be built out. I'm thinking probably 7 years.
That's fair.
Okay, and depending on the economy, it might be 10. Okay, so at that point, when that gets built out, yeah, we'll probably either have to dig another well or find another well field. I'm a proponent of finding a secondary well field just to back up what we have, but we definitely will need another water tower for fire suppression issues. Anytime you get up to 250,000 gallon usage in one day or exceeding it, you've got to have a second tower. The water study told us that. Okay. What we can do, we can regulate water usage, and you already have in your water billing. Okay, so basically you can use 9,000 without extraordinary costs. All right, once you get into the 10 and up, you're paying more and more for each thousand or a couple thousand gallon of water. So if usage gets excessive, you can keep building it up, costing them more, and that is the best way to regulate excessive, what I call excessive water usage. Okay? You can take that extra money and that helps fund infrastructure improvement, water tower wells, etc. If we collect 175% rates for both water and sewer there, I haven't done the math, but that's going to be a lot of money. Not enough to build a new tower immediately, but that's going to collect a lot of money. Plus, I'm going to guess your water rates for higher usage is going to go up significantly because when the people out west start pumping water on their big acreages, usage is going to go up. You're going to have to curtail that by raising prices for high amounts of water, not for what you use to cook with and drink and flush your toilet, but for the high amounts. Okay. And our infrastructure, think about it, the water tower is how old? 45 years old. Okay? Which is not real old for a water tower. But the well field, it's 40 years old. So we are getting aged infrastructure. The sewer plant's already outlived its life. Still working fine. But at some point, whether that gets built or not, you're going to have to spend $3, $4, $5 million to upgrade the sewer plant anyway. I'm not trying to sell that, but when we inherit that, they're going to be paying for that. Yeah, you're going to be paying a little more too, okay? But you pay to upgrade. All right, moving on. We've already talked about the parkland. I think generally, I think we were happy with the calculation they're going to be paying for the amount they're not giving. We can debate whether we like what they have as the 4 acres, but it is allowed in our zoning. If you want to change that, you got to change the zoning book, zoning regulations. All right. Block length, he's already discussed that. Remember, block length, 600 feet for pedestrian crossings. Elevation was an issue. Planning Commission said, we understand that. We will accept the block length that you have. Pedestrian crosswalks. There's a lot of places where you cannot cross in any city, etc. Would it be ideal for some type of crosswalk across 34? Yes, there would be. Is the DOT going to allow that? I'm going to guess not. They can fight all they want to. Probably not. However, we can fight to get the speed limit lowered, which will not solve a problem, but it might help. Okay? Maybe get it down to 35 through Eagle. We know people go over 45 now sometimes, but get down to 35. I suggested maybe the DOT might do something if it was a school crosswalk type situation with a school crossing light, which you could use all year. I don't even know if that's possible, but I suggested that Joe look into that. That's a consideration, something you ought to think about and talk about.
Perhaps before phase 2 even, maybe looking to grant you something for pedestrian crossing, like a bridge, pedestrian bridge, would be great. That's further down the road.
H Street is a problem. Understanding the fact that DOT is not going to let them turn left. So if you live there, and I don't see it as a real problem, immediately, but when that gets built out, I probably stretch the numbers a little bit, but if every house has 2 people working in Lincoln, that comes up to about 500 cars a day that might be going in and out of there, okay? So if I live there and I come down H Street, I cannot turn left to go to Lincoln. Okay? Now I could turn right and take my kids to school, drop them off, and then come back around and go to Lincoln. That works. When I come home from Lincoln, I can make a right turn in. That works. But if I'm coming from the east or whatever, I cannot turn left into H Street. That's a little bit of an issue. Okay? Just some things to think about. So virtually everyone that's going to work or going into Lincoln, let's just say it's rush hour. And rush hour, we may not agree, but I say it's 7:30 to 8:30. With all the traffic coming from the east, I think, Maureen, you might remember exactly, or Nick, I think they had a 2-minute wait period to turn west. Okay? With a study they had, according to our engineer, they were not calculating the wait time quite correctly. And the issue that might exist is the fact that if you, I don't know how much room we have to back up cars, the cars could be backed up clear to this street to turn west. So I don't know how long the turn lane is going to be, but it needs to be at least up to here. Because I could see 15, 20 cars waiting to turn left between 7:30 and 8:30. That's my thought. Barbara should get us the exact, her numbers on the traffic study. And of course that's rated. And I don't understand the rating. But basically it's like an A to F thing. And right now I think it's like a D. Okay? So that's a little problem. Yeah, you can turn right, but how many people, if you don't take your kids to elementary school, how many people are going to turn right? The majority are going to turn left. Now, is it dangerous? Not particularly dangerous. It's just the fact that you're going to have hell of a long wait periods. My thought.
One thing to consider also is that, again, this subdivision is going to take 5 to 7 years to build out, right? Assuming this goes well, this is going to develop, there's going to be street access out there. So that would solve that problem once,
Right.
before you get this full.
Right. If you,
Won't solve it, but it will help it.
it'll help. It'll divert people onto 43, so you have more choices.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the plan.
That's about it. Between you and I, we've hit all the high points.
I have one more thing. Since you're the same developer that developed that over there, we were promised 2 trail accesses over there, and we still haven't got those, so how are we supposed to believe we're gonna get all this?
Well, we actually put those under construction, but they give us the.
But they denied it because you guys didn't talk to them first.
Okay, that, I don't know if that's the. if
That
that's
is
the
what
case.
happened. We talked to them.
Okay. We submitted the plans to them showing the connections. But yes, it did, I didn't talk to them, did the engineer, I don't know if the engineer did. But, yeah, if that's the case, yeah, that's a shame on us, we didn't talk to them. But it was on the plans, they saw the plans, they didn't comment on those plans. So we moved forward thinking that we had their approval to put those connections in. It wasn't until after the fact that they did.
So what can we do to fix this? Because now you have kids that are gonna live over there and have to walk out on the street to get to Eagle.
Yeah,
There's
I
a new-
tried to get Maureen's help to get that done.
There's a new director, or I believe director, that it was gonna start looking into that on maybe getting them joined back up.
And I tasked him, I think it was beginning of last week, I had a phone conversation with him, and that's, from this area, it's his number one priority is to get the trails network to allow that connection, because, the sidewalks are there. All they have to do is allow it.
I get that. I'm just saying we were promised it and it didn't happen.
Right.
Well, and it is true, NRD gets the plans just like the school district does and everybody. The only thing I think they commented on, and they don't comment timely either, but I think was drainage. They had commented on the drainage, but never commented on those trail accesses. Then the work that happened, that made them mad because the work
And
happened.
then we got cease and desist.
Yeah, but they did not comment and say they didn't want the trail access.
That takes me to another
So it's a
issue though,
communication problem.
but it also seems that we always rush these things through. I mean, we only had less than a week to look at this stuff, and now we're supposed to be approving the preliminary plan. And it just seems like we always do that.
You gotta put a lot of faith in your planning commission, right? So we're 5 people, they're 7. We were both on the planning commission at one time. We learned a lot of stuff. So you gotta put a lot more faith in them to make sure that they.
But I also think that they rush through it too.
Well,
as
that might
because
be
they
true,
have to.
but that's why we gotta appoint the right people to come and go from that when needed. That's where that role, that responsibility lies.
Does anybody have any other comments?
When
Questions?
digging through the preliminary plat and subdivision regulations that we have, and this is really brief, so you can correct me if there's some already in the plans. We have like a regulation where we have to have something listed about some escrow that, you know, that it's bonded and everything for the upgrades and whatever. I believe that's between you and Marine.
And that's a subdivision agreement.
Mhm.
And one of the issues with that is, because they are an SID, they are going to be paying for everything.
Okay.
The way that, what's anticipated in the subdivision regs is the traditional way where they are annexed
Yeah,
immediately in, and the village shares in some of the build-out costs. When we went through this a couple of years ago with Eagle Landing, as you know, we did a share cost on the new loop,
Waterline, yeah.
which was off-site. It was actually in the right-of-way, the county right-of-way, et cetera. That was different because we are contributing part of that and et cetera. On this one, we already have sewer because the sewer line runs down to the sewer plant already on that side, so it's adjacent. We also have water on that side that's been bored in, as we all know. There's actually 2 lines over there. So we don't have any more build out to do, at least from the village's perspective right now.
Okay, so even the commercial properties, it'll be annexed right off the bat, that's all.
Yeah, and they're gonna pay for everything as far as I know. We don't have any payment for any infrastructure on this.
Okay, and then, well, the rest of it, I think they'll be worked out. This is, in full disclosure, to help with everything I do, I use a little bit of AI, and it read through some of your storm drain stuff that, you know, you use some sort of code book, whereas we have minimum inches of requirements. I imagine the code book's gonna be meeting and exceeding that, so I'm good on the rest of the front.
That's above my pay grade. That's in-
Yep,
That's why we have the engineers looking at it
that's right.
to approve them. The only waiver, so my view, you know, looking at this, and when we went through the planning commission hearing a couple weeks ago, generally, we have waivers requested from the subdivision regs pretty regularly. I think we've always had, for instance, a waiver we had on that acreage development was a waiver from having sidewalks because it's not in town. They're far away, so that was a waiver you considered for that. They had to pave. You know, some communities ask for a waiver from pavement. We expect them to pave when they're in that extraterritorial jurisdiction. The only waiver that we have requested on this, and he touched on it, was the waiver on lot width or lot length. So a lot is supposed to be, I think, no longer than, or a block is not to be any longer than 1,200 feet. And that except pedestrian crosses have to be every 600. So when you look at a few of these, it goes over the 600 for pedestrian crossings. And what the argument is that they are putting forth, that they put forth to the planning commission, was that topographically, there's so much slope, it doesn't make sense to have a pedestrian cross because we can't make it. We can't make it with the topography.
Right.
And so that was the basis, I believe, that the planning commission agreed to that waiver. you will see, like we had over in Eagle Landing, that they have streets that are stubbed out to go south, east, and west if there's development in those directions. So those are already covered. So I think that is the waiver that he's talking about. Once we leave the public hearing, that will be on your agenda to determine if that waiver is appropriate, if it meets the criteria, and that is in your subdivision reg. The other thing that he did mention was in 2015, we were made aware of the corridor. That corridor decision was made many, many, many years ago. In fact, I just gave him a copy of this. We found out about it in 2015, and Mary Gaston was the clerk at the time that that actually was determined by Department of Roads. So the corridor, building corridor, goes down O Street, I think all the way to Union, and it was the Department of Roads effort to future plan whether or not would go to 4-lane way back when. And so at that time, and there's been, if anybody lives in Eagle, there's been a lot of talk about, well, that 4-lane will go way south. They'll completely go around Eagle, or they're going to go right through the middle, those types of things. Well, in 2015, Nick got a letter because we were talking about a preliminary plat along O Street or Highway 34. And at that time, they said, we have filed a plan sheet with the county, and it shows a 300-foot on either side of O Street corridor that we want to protect just in case.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And so when we went with Eagle, or when we had Dollar General come in, that came up again. And that was when they said, hey, we have by statute a 60-day period to comment. And so that's what we are referring to, that statutorily they have 60 days to comment. Now they have been aware because the traffic study went in before that, but I think it's a different division that probably reviews the right-of-way corridor, and they have to determine, is that going to be acceptable, or are they going to make comments about that protected area just in case they condemn through the vehicle someday. About that time we went through this with, and it was Colby Properties 10 years ago that built Dollar General. A couple of us went into a meeting with DOT, and at that time they asked the board at that time to vote whether or not it wanted to have that 4-lane just go right down where O Street is now. And the board voted for that. And they said, if you commit to that, that's what our plan will be. It's probably not going to go back down around Eagle. So that's kind of what our expectation is going forward. I mentioned it to Mr. Pelster because I was concerned about that frontage having enough space on those commercial lots just in case they have to go back. If you look at Dollar General, it's quite a ways off the road. There's a reason for that, just in case they come and take that roadway more.
And explain what happens if they don't do that.
If they don't build away?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing to note is whenever a building permit comes in, they also have to send the building permit. Rick will have to send the building permit notice down to DOT as well. That they get 2 bites of the apple. If they build too close, my understanding is that when they go to condemn, they're not necessarily going to pay for that structure being in the wrong place. Because they had public notice that it was there, that the corridor was there. So that's kind of that's what we have to deal with. So what I've indicated is, if the board decides they're going to take action tonight when we come out of public hearing and we go into the business part of the meeting, that you're going to vote one way or another on approval of the final plat. If you decide to do that, I believe it should be conditional upon comments coming in from the Department of Roads by the beginning of June, so we can take that into account. We do have a final plat process in front of us, so we are not done with the preliminary plat. Is the preliminary. There's going to be more detail in the final plat, so we would have that point to adjust things as well on the planning.
Yeah, we'll need to look at fire hydrants, water valves.
A lot more detail.
A lot more detail, and that will be between this part of the project and the final plat. So
Any questions for me while we're still in the public hearing phase from the board?
I got one more thing for you, if you could, I know it's not your department, but if you could pass it on. With this project, I think all of us would agree that our preference would be for PVC mains. I know they did some ductile iron for that Eagle Estates. It's easier for our guys to work on or anybody else to work on, so if that would be, if it don't matter to you, I don't know, we might look into changing some of that in our ordinances too, but
You would request these.
we would prefer, yeah, request it if it's,
Yeah,
if you could lay that on.
I'll check the.
Okay. It's usually cheaper than iron anyways, but, and that was something that we missed on the last time until we saw it out there, like, oh, didn't notice that.
Yeah, and I don't think we have a regulation that requires.
We don't, and we might have to look into doing that, but if it's
It's a preference.
a preference, if you could pass that preference on, that'd be great. All right,
I just want to make a couple more statements.
Yep.
Number one, I want to point out this does comply with your comprehensive plan. So-
Yeah.
And I respect people's opinions about whether whether you should grow this village or not. Everybody has their opinions. Something I've heard a long time ago, and I follow this. I have clients follow this, and it's saying that if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. So you got to think about what you want for the future. This is going to be good for the village. It's going to be residents here. It's going to be bring people to new businesses, buying food at your grocery stores and buying food, gas at gas stations, bringing tax dollars into your village. And I think it's a good thing. Ultimately, you're going to end up with a fully developed subdivision, a lot of valuation that you can enhance at some point in time and bring that into the village. That's going to bring a lot of tax dollars too. So I think in the long run, I understand the concept of I came here because it's a small community and I want to stay small. I think that's people that short-sighted. I think you need to make sure that you think about the future and what all the residents really want.
I would like to make a comment that we voted twice to stay a village. Everybody voted twice to stay a village. So
I did not.
I don't care if it got one, so
It was off by 10 votes, for yea and nay, out of several.
it doesn't matter. That's what the vote was.
I'm just saying, we're a fact-finding mission here, so.
It doesn't matter.
Marcus, I still have one other concern I like to express, talking about the water and stuff. I still have concerns about the water. I think, where we're at the Eagles Landing, by the time that's built out, if that's all green space and you get halfway through that, I think that the village could be in trouble sooner than what we think.
Yeah.
Water.
I agree.
And we don't know.
and
Then the solution is to plan ahead and be ready for it.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to put our residents in that spot where all of a sudden we're out of water. We're like,
Yeah.
we're really labeled. We're out of water because we built something not calculating that, we don't know when the well's going to go dry, or we're going to pump it out completely and have to start looking sooner. We're to this point where it's halfway, we're halfway into this, and we're
which is why we need to start planning now.
Yeah.
And have a plan, within the next probably 4 years, have a plan, if not before that.
I agree completely.
We need to have set in stone plan probably within 4 years, so. All right, is there anything else?
Any public comments?
Anybody else have anything before we close the public hearing? All right, that's that. 7:54. Is that item 1? There. All right. On to item 1, discuss possible action, first reading of ordinance 2026-03, amending section 2.02.500 and section 5.08.05 of the Eagle zoning ordinance as the same relates to the definitions of lot requirements for townhomes. Can I get a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce ordinance 2026-03.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
And further
Discussion? Voting on the motion second to introduce ordinance 2603. James.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Dan. Yes. Terry.
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, ordinance 2603 is an ordinance of the Village of Eagle, Cass County, Nebraska, to amend Article 2, Section 2.02.500, and Article 5, Section 5.08.05 of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Eagle, by modifying the definition and lot requirements of townhomes and condominiums, to provide for the severability of any section clause provision that are false or found unconstitutional or invalid, to repeal all ordinances in conflict herewith, provided this ordinance shall be published within the first 15 days after its passage and approval, either in pamphlet form or by posting in 3 public places in the Village of Eagle, and shall be in full force and take effect from and after its passage and approval and publication is provided herein. So I think we kind of talked about this a little bit in the public hearing. If you look at, let's see what number it is. Number 2 talks about amending 2.02.500. It redefines a townhouse, townhome. We kind of went over this, how it was in the past books and what it is today. Section 3 talks about amending some of those height and lot requirements, specifically on townhomes, the lot width from 75 per unit to 25 per unit. If you have any questions on that, I guess I'd direct you back to Rick or Maureen, but that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Seeing none, with that, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to accept the first reading of ordinance 2026-03.
Second.
Any further comments or questions?
Voting on the motion second to accept the first reading of ordinance 2603. Terry.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion then to suspend the rule of 3 consecutive readings on ordinance number 2026-03.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Voting on the motion second to suspend the rules of 3 consecutive readings of ordinance 2603. John.
Yes.
Terry.
No.
James.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Finally then, a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-03.
Can I get a- Any further discussion?
Voting on the motion second to adopt ordinance 2603. Dan.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Terry.
No.
John.
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I believe we're gonna move on to 3, item number 3 first, and then we'll go back to 2. Discuss possible action, approve waivers of the maximum block length submitted by MDC Eagle 1 LLC as part of the Eagle Points subdivision. Anybody have any questions about that? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
So you have to make a finding,
Oh, sorry.
so you have to make a finding on that. I don't know if you've got this, the minutes of the, do you have the minutes of the planning
We
commission?
do.
That's, should be contained in their motion, what you need to make a finding on and the ordinance.
Yeah, there are unique circumstances or conditions affecting the property that are not the result of actions by the subdivider. The waivers are necessary for the reasonable and acceptable development of the property in question, and the granting of the waiver will not be detrimental to the public or adjacent and nearby properties.
Yep. And the planning commission did agree with the fact that their recommendation was to waive it. They found that those 3 items were indeed true.
Correct.
So if somebody was inclined to make a motion, my suggestion is that you make, you move a motion that makes the finding that the conditions in subdivision ordinance 8.01 have been met, and that you approve the waiver.
Get a motion? I'll motion to F3. Sorry, F3.
Yeah, find the
Oh,
conditions in 8.01 have been met, and you approve the waiver of the maximum block length submitted by NBC Eagle One LLC as part of the Eagle Point subdivision.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Voting on that motion second. Let's see here. Terry,
No,
Dan,
No.
John,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried. Yeah, let's jump back up to number 2
All right,
now.
we'll move back to item number 2, discuss possible action, approve the application for the preliminary plat submitted by MDC Eagle One LLC pertaining to the plus or minus 80.731 acres located in the part of the northeast quarter of section 29, township 10 north, range 9 east of the 6th primary meridian, Cass County, Nebraska.
Again, if you want to reference your planning commission. Terry can just tell you. That's 5-1 that night on the preliminary plat, is that right? 5-1, 6-1, was
5-1. Okay, yeah.
And the board can discuss it before you have a motion, and just
Yep.
internally, you guys can discuss and talk about what your concerns are.
Anybody like to?
water is my biggest concern.
Mine too. Very big concern.
I do want to point out that this is just approving the preliminary, not any final, or we'll have time to discuss more too, so.
And Barbara, I kind of thought she'd be here tonight, but she's not. She could probably speak to that more also.
I don't have specifics, but general information I get from NRD that we're sitting on sufficient available water, and that's the reason we take drawdowns every month. And by the time that gets, let's say, half developed, by that time, the west part, I would think, would be basically all developed. We'll have a better read on how much water demand there is, at which time, if the demand is rising relatively fast, it gives us an opportunity to either punch another well. So I think your concern is, does the reservoir we're sucking from have enough water? Okay, and that's the reason that my thought always is, when we put in the second water tower, which is a given, we will have to do that, then we should look at a secondary well field. I tend to believe, from what the NRD and what Barbara says, we have sufficient water, even for that subdivision, because Sheila, at the time that we did the water study, we were talking about, in 20 years, having 800 new homes. 800. Okay? This is 250. Beals will be 150. Okay? And we know Beals is going to develop relatively soon. I mean, whether we like it or not. Now, we can control that if we do not have the utilities, if we do not have the sewer or water to provide them. If we do, if we do have the water and sewer availability to provide them, we really can't say, no, we're not going to provide it to you. We have sufficient water. I mean, we can prove we have sufficient water today. I agree. When that gets built out, we may have to dig a couple more wells. I know we're going to have another water tower, and that's for fire reasons, to have sufficient supply for firefighting. You know, and water is, water is a definite concern, more so than sewer. You don't have any problem with sewer if you don't have water. But, we go with our best information. The best information between Barbara, the water study, and NRD is that we're okay. You know? But like you and I said a little bit ago, before it gets built out, we need to have a plan, not just say, yeah, we should do it. We need to know where the new water tower is going exactly. We need to have bids on the water tower. We need to dig some test wells and see if there's available water, probably north, because the water study said the tower will probably be west. Okay? Somewhere around the cell tower, maybe in the corner of the park that we have out west, someplace in that area, because that's where the elevation is sufficient.
You got one other place, and it sits right over here on the Levitt property to the north of Halverson. That is the highest point within our region. I wouldn't dismiss that as being a possible source.
The only issue with that is if we happen to be looking at a well field north, we may not be able to afford the pipeline to the tower.
I'm saying you're probably going that way with the water first. I mean, we had no water when we went west out here on the landing.
We know we can't go west, we know we can't go
If you
south.
go too far north, then you're gonna get in the area where the rural has their water wells and already, so.
But north and east is where we can go.
I'm just saying, the water board, which sits up here, there's two of us that are on it, and I'm not one of them, but they should be considering that.
Also keep in mind, this is a preliminary plat now. There won't be a house that's gonna be using water for about a year and a half. So, and then we gotta build all those houses. It'll be at least 7 or 8 years before it's totally built out at a good pace. Yeah, so you have time to address that one. And by the way, my notes indicate, like Terry said, my notes from the discussion of the planning commission is that your engineer says you have to pass it, you have sufficient capacity. Now, if another development goes, then we need more capacity. That's not the way on
Does anybody have anything else? Otherwise, can I get a motion to approve approval of the application for the preliminary plat?
If you do, make sure you just add that contingency in there that Maureen spoke of.
Conditional upon comment by DOT.
Was that part of my DOT?
With the condition that
Be
they get
contingent
approval
upon?
contingents.
Okay.
Yes.
On two issues, actually.
And the
for
rural water.
No, two conditions. It's the width condition and the access for H Street. We have no proof yet that.
No, and I think they know that too.
Right.
So when we say it's conditional upon comment by DOT, we're covering two.
We're covering both. Okay, that's fine.
I'll motion to approve the preliminary plot with under the conditions or of the approval by an EDOT. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further questions or comments?
Okay, I'm gonna do voting on the motion second to approve an application for preliminary plat submitted by MDC Eagle One LLC, located part of the northeast quarter of section 29, township 10 north range and east, 6 Principal Meridian, Cass County, Nebraska, conditional upon comment by NDOT. Voting on that, James,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Terry,
No.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And item number 4, which is report from law enforcement, who is not here.
They did give a report. Did anybody have anything they want me to ask them or anything of that nature? Or
These are my originals.
if you do think of something, let me know. I can send them an email. Phone call. Oh, yeah, it's probably, yeah.
Anybody else have anything you'd like them to pass on?
Well, I'd like to comment again, as I've done once before, that, hey, the speed limit going by this school is 25. They're going by there at least at 35 miles an hour. The best thing they ever did was they'd set up here on the Mopac Trail once or twice. And you'd be surprised how fast that makes those guys slow down.
And John, I want to get with you and Dan. You guys are streets, right?
Correct.
So I talked to an officer and he took me out in a little tour. We've got to do some tweaks to our signage. Well, that's their recommendation. We don't have an official school zone right now.
Okay.
If we add the appropriate signage, it could be an official school zone, and those fines and citations would be much more severe.
Okay.
For speeders.
Well, we definitely need to look into that then.
Yeah, and that's on my radar. Just hopefully next meeting we'll have something.
We need to do a resolution to do that.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Have a good night. Is there anything else for law enforcement? If not, moving on to item number 5, report from building and zoning administrator.
Shall have copies of the April 2026 report. Any questions on it?
He's been busy.
Up to the fire station, and there's three coming west.
Looks like we're moving right along the fire station.
Yep. Yeah.
And as part of Rick's report, I guess I will start, well, as we have time, Terry and I will start putting together the zoning books with the appropriate, the change, like the townhomes and such. And start getting those books together, so we'll get hard copies, and not just rely on the online version.
Does anybody have anything else for building and zoning administrator? Alright. Thank you. On to item number 6, public comment. Does anybody have anything for public comment?
One of you guys might.
I'm not even sure what's going on here.
Oh,
Well,
okay. I was told that like in front of our house, we have a problem with the parking there. They're blocking my driveway.
Yep.
And I was told they want to put a compact car parking place in front of the dentist's office. There is not enough room. I cannot back in and out of my driveway. And since they put the handicap, I lived there for 31 years and never had a problem. And this is a daily problem now.
They ended up painting that whole curb red.
Yeah, and
Which
it doesn't
means-
make any difference.
Yes,
I have
they did.
pictures,
Which-
daily pictures.
Yeah,
They still
me and Nick have actually been talking about it a little bit. I put cones out there, was that today or yesterday?
There's
Yesterday.
still parking
Yesterday,
there?
Yeah.
What, in the red?
Yeah, they're parking in the
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So I was hoping law enforcement was gonna be here tonight. I was gonna point that out to them out there, but I put cones there to hopefully discourage
And a lot
them
of times
today.
they're like halfway in our driveway.
Yeah,
And before, they told me that before people would pull in my driveway, which I did not care, that's been going on for years. If you have somebody in a wheelchair, you're more than welcome to use my driveway to get them in and out. And we've always allowed that.
Mhm.
And now this happened, now it's a problem.
And this might be a question for somebody beyond me, but Dan, you work in the streets. With just having a red curb, do you have to have the no parking sign too?
No, when it's red,
Okay.
that's no parking, period.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, can you
That's,
contact the sheriff, send him an
Yep.
email and copy me in that? If something don't happen, I'll make a phone call.
I got a note right here to do that tomorrow morning, so.
I'll get that to
Raise their talking about it.
Yeah, 'cause it's like, it's.
Yes, God. It's
Sorry that's happening.
bright red there.
Yeah,
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
There's
and
no
you
reason
know
they
when they park,
can't
when
see
they're blocking the driveway, when they get out of their car, they can see the red.
You know,
But I've been told this is a small town and rules don't happen. I've been told that
We just
several-
met
3
last
times.
week, or
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, John and I met and discussed that, where, how to paint it and,
Yeah,
to make that.
because I had one guy, he told me, he says, you just make me move. And then I go, well, I do have a phone. Because I always made the comment to him, I says, I'm an old lady, and when I back up, you want to watch out for me. You know, and he was really a jerk about it.
I mean, the only thing to make things happen is you're gonna have to make a call, make it a problem.
Our regulations require a sign needs to be erected, so,
Does there?
yes.
Well, and I just didn't know what, what state law is or.
No, it says the only exception is where certain areas parking illegal regardless of whether a sign is present because it's covered by state law. But if we created a no parking sign, no parking spot, it has to have a sign.
Just put the resolution together
Yep.
and let's put the sign.
Well, put a sign there, that's kind of the general consensus on draft a resolution on that, yeah.
Thank you.
We've had a lot of parking issues this year.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping not to have to put the sign just because then you have one more thing to mow around and weed whack around. So we were hoping that paint would work, but apparently
Well,
it doesn't.
it's too bad that the parking is messed up now. I mean,
Yeah.
That parking's being taken away because it is a business.
Mm.
You want people to use the dentist's office.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And not have a problem when they have to come and park.
And there's hardly any parking on that side of the street.
No, there's not a whole lot, but, because I don't mind parking in front of my house or whatever, but, just don't block my driveway. Because I will back into you.
Yep.
I'm not that good at backing up anymore.
Good. All right. I got one thing for public comment too. It's from Terry Taney. He just wanted to let people know that 5K for the Batnus awareness disease is going to be on Saturday, June 6th, which is also the same as the weekend for Eagle Garage Sale Days. And they haven't decided for sure where they're going to meet, either at the school or the fire station here, but he just wanted to let everybody know. So Saturday, June 6th will be the 5K for the Batnus disease awareness. And then also there's a golf tournament on June 8th. So yeah, not exactly sure what time or any of those, but you can look it up on olliespurpose.com. Yeah, if you want to join.
Olliespurpose.com.
Yep, olliespurpose.com.
I've got one thing. Remember, 12th is voting day, so the 11th, Dan, and we'll probably talk to Luke too at some point, but remind everyone, we're going to have at least one bay cleaned out the night before so we can move chairs and some of the tables out of this room for voting. So just one, the closest space, so let's
Move the ambulances out probably. We can move them out. You guys are okay with that?
Yeah, it'd be nice, we just put them out front.
come out front here.
Or we could park them at a lot here. Well, there's no room over there either.
Yeah, because nobody can park in front of there anyhow.
So you just
That's
put them right there in front of the
Yeah.
door.
Okay, so they will be outside on Monday night because they're going to be in here at 6 o'clock on Tuesday morning.
What day is that?
Well, the 11th moved the trucks out and the 12th is voting day, primary election.
Okay.
Yeah, so just make sure everybody knows they might be sitting outside that night or something.
This is a good time I could ask a question
Yes.
about that.
Yep.
Election. I don't know, I'm not the inspector, Kelly is Gillespie, but, I was just thinking if we have people coming in, the west door, east door, and coming around, it would be nice if we could go out the north door, south door, my directions all mixed up, south door to go back out so that there'd be a flow. Otherwise, you'd have people coming in and out of that same door, and that could be a problem. Is that possible? Men walk along?
I guess
Out
we're not
the
really
other-
in charge of if that's going to work.
Pardon?
There's a lot of junk out there. That'd be my
Yeah,
only
you'd have to
concern.
So
have somebody out there watching it.
There's a lot of stuff, equipment, a lot of money sitting out there. Not saying that somebody would take something or mess with anything, but
You have to have somebody
As long as
watching.
somebody was watching, you could probably pull it off, but
Pardon?
if somebody was kind of watching and guiding them out, it might work.
I don't know, I'm just seeing, I mean, when we're up at the school, you know, there's big double doors going into the gym. There was no problem coming in and out because there was enough space. But if you're all coming in here, especially at certain times of the day when we have heavy voting, and, you know, and you've got, and there's going to have to be people lined up out there probably, because we usually have them lined up in school. So they're going to have to be lined up somewhere. So if they're lined up outside, then you're going to have to try and get people going back out again. I just was wondering,
It's not gonna work quite as good as the school did.
No, they had a lot more room.
It was an understanding that it was going to be a make-do this year.
Mhm.
You know, if the sales tax passes, you can probably use that room, you know,
right,
next time, but, let's see, we talked to Kelly,
Yeah,
was
so-
it yesterday or
Yeah,
Friday?
she'll stop in Monday and do a quick walkthrough, tell us what she wants for chairs and tables, we'll move the rest out. Yeah, and maybe we'll mention what you said about the flow of traffic, I don't know how many, poll workers you typically have.
there's probably about 8 of us.
Okay. Maybe one could be the direction person.
There probably could be someone who, you know, if it was acceptable, that's what I was kind of wondering, because I just see a flow problem if we don't use that as an exit.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that required a fireman or someone who would, you know, be more comfortable watching the people leave. I just thought I was gonna mention it.
No, might wanna take the day off that day.
If it's a rainy day, a consideration might be actually coming in that door and coming through here and leaving
And
out of
leaving
this
that
door.
Yeah, one way or another, the flow has got to be in some way, we can't, you know, try and get everybody in and out of that one door.
Not gonna work very well. Yeah, we'll figure something out, it's a good idea.
But it's just something I wanted to bring out so it could be considered. Because come Tuesday morning, we are ready at 8. We have to open whether we're ready or not, so I prefer to be ready.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything for public comment? Seeing none, on to item number 7, discuss possible action, updates on the new fire and rescue facility.
Utilities are starting to go in, I think they're gonna look to do tap the sewer next week, and they're gonna work with Curtis to figure out how they wanna do that, because where they initially planned on going was about 18, 19 feet deep and 10 foot of rock, so they might try to pivot a little bit, where they originally planned, but I don't know any of the details right now.
If they're gonna try to hook onto a manhole, I would strongly advise against dumping in the manhole. Sometimes,
That was a thought, and we don't like that.
yes, I don't either.
Yeah.
Some people try to, yes, it's easier, but it's long-term not good for us.
Especially the one, that feeds all the set down, it's definitely doing it. Yeah, we'll figure something out. And whoever's on, are you on sewer?
No, I
Who's on sewer?
on sewer.
Are you sure?
I was.
John's on sewer, but who's with you, John?
Maybe I thought I wasn't.
That's
when we took replaced.
on me. That's
Okay,
okay.
so,
I'll get with this, I'll have Kirby with the sewer committee before, if you have experience in that market, so.
yeah, I can talk about that.
Okay. That's it for really what's going on there, I think.
If there's nothing else, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 8. Discuss possible action, acknowledge the receipt of Cass County Tourism Grant and the utilization of $5,000 in matching funds for soccer, SAS, football combination goals east of the Eagle Municipal Pool. I believe you have Elizabeth to comment on that.
Yeah, so to remind the board of the ask, whenever I was in here last, before I had applied for the grant, Albo Eagle Rec had come to Parks and Rec asking to support some combination socketed soccer/football field goal posts for a practice area for our 10U youth sports. So we had the $5,000 set aside in Parks and Rec funds, and Cass County Tourism did approve the grant to have matching funds for this project. So coming to seek approval of the overall project so I can start, kind of moving along. A couple of things, I guess, to note is that I've been looking at the equipment itself, the pair of the combination posts, and from a couple of different sites, it's approximately the $7,200. So then we have, $2,800 left over, $10,000 to put towards maybe leveling that area, and working something out there. So, but feel free to ask any questions. Just like I've been here for a while, my brain's booked for it.
That number you're referring to, that includes the install, getting permanent concrete poles?
That's just the equipment and like the chipping and handling. So that's not somebody to put it into the ground.
Or you have volunteers help with the.
Right, yeah. That would be the hope.
And then, I wasn't here for that meeting, but I was saying to pay attention to it a bit. Something was brought up about the frisbee golf.
There are like 2 or 3 holes over in that area right now, so those would just be moved.
Do you know the dimensions of the field?
No, I will have to get the parameters of what, I guess, regulation size looks like. So that is something that I need to do, and then I want to call around locally to see about just like tilling and seeding that area. We just met as a Parks and Rec board before this meeting, so my hope, I think it has to be completed by like October of 2027, is that come fall, maybe we do the groundwork, and come spring, install the posts, and then the kids have that area to practice. But like all of our neighboring communities, there's a real lack of field space for these kids, and the 10 and under specifically get last pick. So a lot of our kids are going to Elmwood or even the Lincoln YMCA. So, but from Albo Eagle Rec, and I talked to Ozzy Rodriguez, who coaches the junior bikes, it would positively benefit more than 100 kids to be able to have dedicated park space here.
So, for the fallback of the question with the frisbee golf, if I recall right,
yeah.
the layout of the golf course was done by somebody on Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Derek.
Is that person still?
Yep.
Run? Maybe
Yep.
they can come up with a new layout for those 3.
My plan for our next Parks and Rec meeting, because candidly, I haven't just walked around the park space for a while and even seen, the newer equipment that was put in. I've heard that maybe some pieces are damaged, and I just candidly don't have a child within that age range anymore to go down there. So the next Parks and Rec meeting, I want to just do a real walkthrough of the park, and then at the same time, think about how we can lay out that disc golf course instead,
We got a piece of your xylophone in the office.
Awesome. Yeah, I just haven't been down there for a while, so I know that. And then, yeah, not to derail, but that woman that keeps reaching out about the playground equipment, maybe she's someone that we can work with to do something.
Yeah, she'd be a good one on there.
Yeah, just to kind of repair some equipment or whatever, so.
You need to plan ahead a little bit, because it's gonna take 2 years to establish grass unless you're gonna do sod, and then you can't afford sod.
Yeah, yeah.
But lay out the field, because we may not have to move the frisbee golf.
Yeah. Thinking about where they're at, I'll just have to see what that looks like, but obviously I want a lot of input, because it's not in my wheelhouse to, do these practice areas, and whatever the parameters are and all of that. So, I'll definitely have input from the coaches of Albo Eagle Rec and junior bikes and, whoever installs it, so.
Good job.
Yes.
But you think,
Yes,
so
thank you for all the time.
you think you'd look to purchase these, this fiscal year though? I mean, just to have them somewhere?
Just to have them,
Yeah.
yeah, just to make sure, and I wanna look around, but like I said, they all look to be about the same cost. So I guess this,
And potentially, if we got slow fall, we could, I mean, if we have them, we might be able to put them up this
Right.
fall. If the ground work is all done already, finished up.
Fiscal year, if it goes past September 30th, it's messed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was
The
thinking,
lead time and everything else.
we can get it purchased
Yeah.
before this, yeah. And have
That's all
it on its way.
It's all like here, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Guess really to vote on this one, just kind of no and.
I'd
General
move
agreement.
to utilize that
Okay.
$5,000 in matching funds.
Alright, can I get a motion to utilize the $5,000 matching
I'm
fund?
not saying you have to do it, but this would be a good opportunity to use some Keno money. I actually was talking to one of the Keno reps, and they'd like to see us using our Keno money a little more often, so it'd be a good idea. Be a good project for that if you're so interested.
Yeah, because good chance we'll need a little extra for
well,
correct
yeah,
seeding
remind
and
me of that
seeding and stuff.
possibility, yeah, as we get close to see about, yeah, CD and all that, so.
Monday or Friday, we might be meeting with somebody to start working on a bid for one contractor for doing some of the grounds prepping. So. Can I get a motion to utilize the $5,000 in matching funds for the soccer/football combination goals on the east side of the Eagle Municipal Pool?
So moved.
Can I get a
Second.
Any further discussion?
Voting on the motion second to approve utilizing $5,000 in matching funds for soccer football combination goals east of the Eagle Municipal Pool. Let's see, voting on that is John,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Alright, on to item number 9, discuss possible action approved purchase of 2 lifeguard stand platforms from Aquachem in the amount of $873 each plus shipping.
What are these?
So these are the stands that the lifeguards, like under the chair.
That they stand on, the stand, just what they, the platform that they stand on, so
Not the
that'll,
chair at all, just the platform.
That's how expensive that is. The guys are doing some maintenance and they're all cracked up and one's even starting to climb to the
So
top.
like the
of it.
chair we have is good still, you just are replacing the pedestal.
Not the pedestal.
Not the
just-
pedestal.
Just the.
Where they stand on.
Or just the.
it's like an
squares.
18 by 18 fiberglass platform, and it's literally all it is. But,
It's a safety concern right now. We're paying for the insurance, just like that.
yeah.
If somebody was to break that off.
Do we have an idea what the shipping was gonna be on this?
No idea.
Shouldn't be too bad.
I wouldn't think so. I would say plus shipping. Just it, you know. I don't know.
I'd make a motion to approve the 2 lifeguard platforms, and purchase of those not to exceed $2,500. That should cover it.
Is this place in Bellevue?
I mean, they're both 873, and it's
This place is in
almost
Bellevue.
$2,000. I mean, wouldn't think it would cost
It might not
$2,300
come
of
from
shipping, would it?
No, I mean, no, I would just, you know, you can do 2,500 if you want.
I don't
You
think
said
we're
this
spending
place is
that.
in Bellevue?
Well, this store is, but that's not where they order the parts. The parts are private. So whoever SR Smith cantilever platform, you know, whoever sells those could be in California or something.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
What was the total that you?
Not to exceed 2,500.
Okay.
I thought that was a little excessive, but
It probably is, but what's just for those? I mean, I don't foresee them exceeding that. We just need to get them here.
Yeah. We'll get them order, that approves the order right away in the morning. Any further discussion on that one? Otherwise, we'll call the roll on approving purchase of 2 lifeguard stand platforms from Aquachem in the amount of $873 each plus shipping, not to exceed $2,500 in total. Voting, Dan,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
John,
I don't like his wording, no.
and Marcus.
With the discretion of the fact that if it does reach that point, you guys can still say no. Yes.
All right, motion carried.
All right, on to item number 10, discuss possible action, approve proposal of Gordon Electric to install a new electrical panel at the Eagle Pool in the amount of $6,233.13.
Okay, so this is something we knew was in, pretty rough shape just over the years. They used to store chemicals and such in that little closet area room, but they don't do that anymore. But regardless, it's going to need repaired at some point. We got a bid from Dustin Gordon Electric. I have no idea. To me, it seems high.
Seems excessive.
I have no clue because I'm not an electrician. I know we didn't budget for it specifically. And talking to Dustin, he said, well, it's made it this whole time. I'm sure it can make it another year. If it's something you want to look at budgeting next year, totally up to you. But we've had a lot of expenses lately. I know it needs to be done. Just how you want
Have
to.
we ever used anybody else for electrician stuff? I mean,
It's been a while.
I just why don't we get a second bid or whatever?
We've used Skidwell before, which I have my own opinions on. But
I mean,
as an electrician, I dig through this a bit, and I see that it's kind of big in here. I trust Gordon a lot. I've had discussions with other situations in town with him, but
it's an outdoor unit.
I think they do good work, but it just seems excessive.
well, so from the code book, though, whenever you have to pull a permit, it involves some other stuff. You have to then bring everything else up to code. So I would say perhaps it's best if we dig into a bit and make sure we don't, because on here he says any work that the state may require to be done above and beyond this will be time and material, which usually bills at a higher rate.
Then there's the option for the humidity sensing fan. You don't have to do that. I don't know if it would really do any good.
What I'm getting at is a $6,000 bill could turn into a $20,000 bill.
That's scary.
Yeah, so I think I think Dustin saying that, maybe perhaps we wait one more year and look it over a little bit more and get a proper assessment. I haven't even looked at the panel. I don't know how old it is.
You're not gonna want to do it while the pool's open, obviously.
Yeah.
So he would knock this out in the next week or two.
Yeah.
If he got approved tonight. Otherwise, he said, we could wait.
So who's going to do the assessment? If it's not an electrician.
I think that's a discussion that needs to be had on site with an electrician. And it doesn't appear that happened in the statement on this quote. That's all I'm getting at.
I would tend to agree with James. We kind of just put this on hold for a little bit more to do a little more meet up there with them and have a little one-on-one to visually see exactly what else may be needed.
Electrical inspector in our district is pretty forgiving and somewhat nice guy. But
Tell you what other thing is needed is a new door there.
I was gonna make a comment about that too.
Doesn't hardly open or shut. But
Well, we need a new building, but we gotta stop somewhere.
Yeah.
So, is there somebody that wants to, one or two of you would want to meet with Dustin just to talk about it ahead of, I don't know.
I mean, Marcus and I are on the pool. Him and I can meet, I would think.
Yeah, we could definitely set a time to do that.
Okay, but
So just kind of table this for now.
I'll shoot you the code line, and Dustin likely knows it, but that way you can specifically use that in the conversation. Okay?
Sound good?
So do you agree with that, Taylor?
Yeah. Good, that's consensus. On to item number 11, discuss possible action, approve change order number 1 with Cather and Son Construction in the amount of $2,018.38 as part of the 2026 Eagle Drive Mill and Overlay Improvement Project.
And this is actually, it's actually a subtraction from the original bid was 127,872.50, and the actual, including this change order, was 125,412. So we actually came in cheaper than we planned, and we got another portion of the street done, so. This is actually a good one for your sale money on this one.
That's rare.
Yeah.
Unless there's any discussion, can I get a motion to approve the change order number 1 for Catherine Sun Construction in the amount of $2,018.38 as part of the 2026 Eagle Drive Mill and Layover Improvement Project?
Motion to approve that change order number 1 with Cather that decreased the bill by $2,018.38.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Voting on that motion on change order number 1 with Catherine Sons Construction. Terry,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
On item number 12, discuss possible action, approve application of payment number 1 with Cathers and Son Construction in the amount of $125,854.12 as part of the 2026 Eagle Drive Mill Overlay Improvement Project. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion on that one?
We had some issues with this contractor, but it was acceptable to our engineers in the end, so.
I have kind of a bit of a confusion. This is contractor at the top of the Cather and Sons, and it says line item 3 by Papers Inc. Am I just not knowing the different names of the companies?
Hang on, I'm sorry, I can't hear this thing.
So the application partial payment,
Oh,
Cather and Sons, and it says Pavers.
no, they just didn't change the name on it. Yeah, I'll mention that to them, that we need to put the correct name in there. It probably carried over from last year or something, I'm guessing. Anything else? Voting to approve application for payment number 1 with Catherine Sons in a $125,854.12 as part of the 2026 Eagle Drive Mill and Overlay Improvements Project. Voting Dan.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Stop it.
And we can sign it for now. You make this up, strike it, so.
Okay. I need to.
That's something.
Sounds good. All right, on to item number 13, discuss possible action, consider proposal from St. Spur Network Mobilization and Managed Technology Service in the amount of $12,238.
So I had to put on the agenda, as we've been growing, our technology's been growing, and something that made me push for it a little bit harder is the purchasing of the computer in the office area. The owner is here tonight to discuss any sort of the different line items in there, perhaps the future services as we get further into more needs. You got anything to say?
Yeah, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Colton Porter. I own Sync Technology Services. Big reason I started my company as a veteran, I got tired of seeing businesses, municipalities getting ripped off by vendors, upcharging a lot of stuff. Here about 2 months ago, I come out here and took a tour of the village, looked at your infrastructure, seen areas where we could maybe improve, save you money long-term down the road, specifically with like your camera system. Your recurring license fees on that, we could look at, replacing that system long-term down the road with a system that's not going to have any licenses tied to it that you own at the end of the day. So the big reason is I love Recon, but at the end of the day, if you don't pay your bill for it, your cameras get shut off, and if something happens, you can't access your building, your videos at that point. The other big thing is with the Verizon hotspots, if a Verizon cell tower goes down, that's your single point of internet for a majority of your village, your SCADA, other things throughout, cameras, network at the city barn. This proposal here would take your internet here at the firehouse, push it over to the city barn, and get you guys faster, better reliable internet over there. And then we can also enhance your cyber posture. I'd say the last year, we've seen about a 70% increase in cyber threats and attacks on municipalities and government sectors. So we just would like the opportunity to be able to help you guys out, keep you at a cost practical, managed service providing for anything IT that you might need.
Well, my biggest concern, and I gotta say it up front, is, hey, we're halfway or more through our fiscal year, and this was not included on it, so
Tech
I
budget.
have to point that out to the board.
Yeah, the tech budget was what, 20K, I think it was 15. So I know it was part of that. Some of that obviously got burned up by licenses that wasn't expected at the amount that they were. And then I also pushed against, so.
Nick, do we have any issues right now?
Well, and I think the only things that, I mean, and of course I'm gonna be a complete layman because I'm not a tech guy. So I've talked to James, but the biggest concerns that I have are, and Terry, you can speak up if I'm wrong, I think the biggest things we have that I've noticed is slow internet, which we just probably need a different provider. And I think that's part of it, is to drag the Windstream fiber over.
Correct.
And just, backup safety, those are my two biggest concerns. James will know more, and Colton will know more than I know, but I don't know what I didn't know, so.
Isn't this a lot of money just to address those two issues?
So one thing you can see on there is that it's the 12 months of 289 a month of the monitoring and endpoint backup. That is the biggest part of all of it. But I don't think that you want to dive into the purchasing and setup of the rest of the equipment and then not have something that's there and ready for a phone call.
Are we paying something now for a monthly service?
No.
No, and it shows. When I took over the tech committee when I joined the tech committee after joining the board, I was kind of, I don't want to be in public forum talking about too much about security and stuff, but it is kind of a situation that can be problematic. And the fact that we rely on cellular for a lot of our stuff is also problematic. And I get that's probably something due to the contractors that we've used to install SIG cameras over the course of the years. That's their default to, it's like, hey, I just need internet right here. I'm going to buy this point of use. Here's your $40 a month bill. And so when you're adding up these certain dollars per month that it costs, if you were to look at what Verizon costs us per month for all of the usages, it's pretty substantial as well.
My feeling is that this is like poor timing. I think that we should have put this in the budget, and since we're already to May, that we should wait until we have the budget meeting and make sure that if this stuff is needed, that we do it then.
Anybody got more questions for our buddy Colton over here?
I'd be 100% relying on you guys because like I said, I don't know what I don't know. I just know.
Yeah, I'm gonna be behind them too. So this is basically just a service. It doesn't include any kind of hardware, right?
The big,
So the $289 a month is your managed service. That's your cybersecurity, your backup, your Google Workspace management, anything related to your computers, your cameras, tech support. That's like a help desk guy. Somebody you call and say, hey, my computer's not working. Can you help me fix it?
So it's just assistance. There's no
Right.
hardware.
So it's also managing like the cybersecurity and the network security for the village as well.
Yes.
So
Like I said, no hardware. It's service.
correct. The $289
Like
service,
yep.
the hardware line items would be to take your internet that's here, your fiber internet, and provide that over to the city in order to have better reliability.
It's just.
That's the hardware portion of the project phase of that.
Is there any cybersecurity coverage, like if there were an event were to happen, like is there, like almost like if there's a claim?
Like a $1 million coverage.
Right. So I carry $1 million cybersecurity insurance myself. Then
A lot of our insurance people, there's a lot of exclusions for cybersecurity currently, so
right.
That's why I was curious what.
Yeah, and then the programs that I use all have their own third-party coverage for different things. So if they had something that failed on their end, they have their own levels of coverage as well.
Does it back up to like a cloud that you manage or something? How does that?
So yes, the computer, let's say your computer that has QuickBooks on it, it'd take a snapshot of that daily, or however you want to set the time limit up to be, and it's going to sync it to a cloud database. So let's say somebody got a hold of your desktop in there, locked you out of it, or it just quit, and you can't get back on it. We'd have a snapshot backup of your entire workstation that we could then push right into a new computer if we needed to. Or let's say you just accidentally deleted a file that day. You'd then be able to say, hey, I need to have you recall that file from this date if you could.
Well, this talks about the existing firehouse and city barn. When the new firehouse goes in, is that gonna change the rate?
No. So at the very back of that, it makes mention about the new firehouse. And the equipment we can take and just move at that time as long as the fiber is brought in over there. We can just move that hardware over there under your current monthly rate.
So, yeah, I don't know if I got either. So everything would be saved in the cloud or at the barn, and where's the? Should be
Backup.
both. Backup.
You could do both. So we could set up a local backup. I didn't put a proposal together for that because the cost of storage for a local storage backup can get kind of astronomical. So cloud backup is kind of the cost practical solution for doing that. You can do a local backup on your machine itself daily, and then have that cloud backup. So you have both, right? Instead of doing an actual backup server here.
So who would all have access to this and setting passwords? Obviously, you're gonna have access. Who all works with you that would have access to all their information?
Nobody else, it'd just be me for this contract.
How do we know that though? What if somebody else got into that, you know, I'm not saying someone couldn't break into your stuff, I mean.
Right. So my security posture is pretty tight to begin with. So not saying it can happen. Anybody can break into anybody, right? But I don't have employees to worry about breaking in and stealing information. I don't contract employees to do anything. I handle everything myself. That way I know that it's being managed a proper way and nobody else can access that information.
Do you have any references or anything, anybody else you're doing this for?
Yeah, so Brown and Family Insurance, I take care of them. I take care of the security technology at Helion out here off Highway 6 in Lincoln. And then I take care of some family businesses as well. So 2024 is when I formally started my business. So I am fairly young in business. And this year I have been accepting a lot more clients. So just as far as my credentials, right now I'm getting a bachelor's in cybersecurity, just kind of add my stuff that I already have for safety credentials or security credentials. And that's in cybersecurity information as a certified information security professional. So not the flop, but my grade point average is a 3.85 in that for cybersecurity.
So this 289, that's basically just getting rid of those hot spots, and then you working with the system that we have. If we were to move eventually, as our licenses come to term to expire, if we did end up moving that way, would that affect that 289 very much? I mean, obviously, contracts are going to go up as inflation goes up and stuff like that, but I mean, that set aside, if we get more hardware from you, so to say, more cameras, more computers, is that going to affect this price?
So my monthly fee wouldn't go up. The only fee that might be additional is if the software requires a fee, or let's say if you added another Verkada camera, those require a license fee, right? So those fees are exclusion fees. But my monthly management for the village would be $289 a month to take care of your IT needs.
You said if we add another what camera?
Verkada, your
So
current.
Oh, like the current ones.
The fire department's putting in 3 or 4 Verkadas,
Yeah.
I think. So yeah.
So that would go up a little bit.
Well,
But that would be a fee on Verkada's
Yeah,
side. That
yeah.
wouldn't be I wouldn't increase my price because of an additional camera.
Okay, that's what I'm asking with your
Correct.
side.
But you were talking about fading out our camera system now. I mean, we've got an extravagant amount of money invested in these systems here.
Right, so that was a discussion that I was gonna mention to the village, is when you do the math long-term of what Verkada's gonna cost the village, in 7 years, you could save about $105,000 with the number of cameras you have right now to invest back into other things, if you were to slowly start transitioning it to a system that's license-free. So Verkada costs you annually for the cameras to run,
And why is that? Why do some charge and some don't?
because it's all cloud-based for Verkada. Whereas if you went with like a Ubiquity ecosystem for your cameras, your access control, which is the almost similar system to Verkada, you can have it all local storage, everything, the data's your own. You own the cameras, you pay no license fees on anything. So you don't pay a license fee per credential for the door, you don't pay a license fee per camera. At the end of the day, you own it, and then you're not paying $15,000 every 3 years for the cameras to stay on.
So would we have to phase out the cameras and you'd have to replace those cameras?
Correct.
That
So
would be,
when your license is, say, it'd be something you'd want to work as a project, long term. We know that the Verkada camera, if we wanted to replace them in an area, you would say, okay, we're planning a year out. This is what it's going to cost that we know we need to assume for the next year of that project.
But that's not part of this proposal.
Correct. No, that's completely irrelevant to this.
Our agenda here is talking about 12,238. We're really looking at 8,770 plus the monthly fee, correct?
Correct. That
Yeah.
12,000 is the whole year with my monthly fee.
Correct.
Incorporated. Thank you.
But that's not what we're really looking at tonight. We're looking,
Correct. You're looking at the 87
okay.
for the hardware, and then the 289 a month to manage your IT infrastructure, cameras, access control.
Through the public records available on the website, have you been able to determine how much we spend on Verizon?
Yeah, so Verizon, you're spending about $730 a month right now for all the creative points connected. I think we could, just doing this bridge alone, save you about $239 a month roughly by cutting and eliminating 2 or 3 of them out.
Because right now it's like
I mean,
it's like 40.01 per site, if you will. So there's the 40.01, $40.01 at the park, $40.01 at the pool, and then we have 160.04 for broadband at the office. I'm just trying to
right, and then you got your phones and your printers. There's other things that I think there's opportunities to save monthly recurring costs by using myself as a managed service provider, like the printer.
So that would change the phone system too, then, or that would.
That's something we could look at doing to save costs long term.
The phones are pretty cheap, but some of those other things are kind of expensive.
Right.
That's gonna save us a lot on licensing fees.
Well, but that's down the road.
That would be when you switch out like the campus,
That's years down the road.
because I think you recently
What-
approved for 3 years.
Price comparison on equal quality of cameras for like resolution and pixel count, all that stuff. What's price comparison on what you sell compared to what they sell?
So like Verkada versus license free.
Yes.
So Verkada camera, apple to apple for like a bullet camera, that's just like ones that look straightforward. You're looking at about a $300 to $500 difference for the same quality.
So yours would be up higher?
Lower.
Lower?
Ubiquity
So they
would
would
be a
have
little
to-
bit lower.
And the life comparison?
They're all same about lifetime schedule for camera systems, whether it's one brand or another, the lenses all are about the same lifetime. You're looking at tech lifespan of about 10 years, depending on the cameras, especially with how much stuff changes now.
So every 10 years, we spend 100,000 on cameras.
Well, I don't know.
If you need to.
Well, so here's
That's
what
if we were
the
to.
issue that I know of our cameras in the village, and keep in mind, a lot of them were installed with bars on the board. I sat in the audience. The biggest cost of them is installing all the ancillary hardware. That won't change. What's over behind the doors, the conduits, that doesn't change. The hardware that you were worried about, the cameras, that would, if that needed upgraded, because, you know, the lens got yellow from UV or whatever, that's a little bit, so it's not the same 100,000, if you will, it's not gonna be, I mean, granted, with inflation or whatever, but.
And I don't have it tonight, obviously, but I can put together, you know, past figures, how much we spent, and once we get into the camera stuff again, that's down the road a little bit.
Right.
We stay just focused on this part.
So, just a caveat on Ricotta right now. So I think Kidwell supplies Ricotta to you right now. They probably charge a service fee to come out and fix a camera.
They haven't, but I guess we haven't had that.
If you had to, I'm
Yeah.
guessing they most likely would charge you to come out and fix a camera.
They
My
do.
monthly fee covers troubleshooting and fixing of the Ricotta. Unless the hardware needs replacement, then obviously be a hardware cost incorporated.
Are you a Ricotta dealer now?
I am a partner of Ricotta as well, so. I'm a partner of Ricotta, Ubiquity, Fortinet, which is your firewalls, and some other products as well.
What we need to do is put the cost
Yeah.
analysis side by side and actually figure out.
What we spent, how old they are, you know. The fire department just put in a big order for more Ricotta cameras. With 10-year licenses, so those would be a long time down the road before.
Have they been purchased already?
I think so.
I think it'd be good to get a spreadsheet on more.
Well, I guess, yeah, I could remember what we've spent currently, the age they are, and everything else.
We just renewed our license, didn't we?
We just did another 3-year on everything minus the new fire station, which isn't up yet, so. But that would give you, if that's the right way to go, you'd have plenty of time to start planning. Yeah. But,
Do we wanna,
as far as this stuff tonight goes, what do you guys think?
do we wanna vote on it, or just table it for a little bit so we can get more numbers in front of us, or
Well,
what you guys?
but we're not talking about the cameras.
Yeah, I mean, that might be part of the consideration on doing this, though, or not doing this, is to see once, I don't know, or do we wanna vote on this? If you guys want to, ask for a motion, or,
Mr. Copeland monitor, no matter what cameras.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
And that's why I'm asking, do we wanna vote on this, or do we wanna just wait to see more numbers afterwards? Do we want more time to kind of chew on it, or do we wanna go ahead and vote on it?
I think we should see more numbers. I'd like to budget for them as well. I mean, I'm not against it, but I would like to see some more numbers in budgeting as well.
I think it's definitely something to look into. I'm leaning towards it, but I'm not quite sure if I wanna make a full decision yet. But I've always had an issue with that, paying the reoccurring licenses.
Well, just the recurring licenses in my mind too, it's all the different internet points that we've got all over town and
Yeah, it'd be nice to have,
make it one solid location.
I can definitely put a spreadsheet together, and I talk back and forth with Colton or James and make sure I put the right numbers together, like what he would cover versus like what we're already paying for Verizon. That might be
How long is your bid good for? I mean, a lot of times we see the 30 days, so.
Yeah. How long do you want to do it for? I'm flexible. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm here to work with everybody, earn your business, and support you at the end of the day. I'm not here to be a con artist or take advantage of the village. I'm here to help you guys out with your tech needs.
I do believe we have enough in the budget that we could do it, but do we wanna wait till our next budget meeting and make sure this is in there? Or I think we do have enough room in the tech budget, or,
Well, the licenses burnt through a lot of it.
how it did, so we might need to wait till after the next fiscal year then.
You have the capital outlay forms? What do you
Yeah,
guys-
I do. We budgeted. Well, where are we at here? Where did you put tech at, James?
Where did I put tech at?
Security cameras, office computers, and server. We had 10,000.
Oh, yeah, that's probably
Spent
gone then.
13 on license.
Yeah, that's all gone then. So we might have to wait till after the next budget cycle.
And there's gonna be things we probably don't buy, you know, cut from.
We're gonna have to buy some cameras for the new building.
You never know what the pool's gonna
Mhm.
That'll be under the budget.
Yeah, that one, I think Luke already took care of that.
Two considerations you might want to think about. That is, do you want an outside source? I don't care who the outside source is. Do you want an outside source to have control? Because you have control. The second thing is, how long will it be before AI actually eliminates the need for a lot of what we're talking about tonight? I don't know. I'm no tech expert, but I do know that it's going to eliminate a lot of these headaches.
And it has. That's a big reason why I run myself as a single operation and don't have a bunch of employees, is because AI tools, if set up and utilized properly, can help organizations do a lot more work fast and efficient.
Just kind of tell me what you want to do. Tech committee get together, talk about it. Wait until August when we have a workshop. Or what do you want to do? Put it on the next day.
All of the above.
I don't know. We can table it for now until somebody tells me otherwise.
I have an idea where the vote would fall if I put it in, but.
Or you can
I think it would be good if we did, put some effort towards, comparing what it would save us. Because we were talking the difference between the 13,000 for cameras and the all-inclusive IT services, but this package here also eliminates, like I said, the Verizon bills and stuff. It's kind of a mismatched tie-dye version of everything, so.
But if you would do a spreadsheet, then at the budget thing, we could incorporate more if you wanted to replace cameras down the road and stuff.
Are we able to divide the things out of Verizon?
Yeah. Like we still have our cell phones, but there's
Yeah, you couldn't get rid of that, yeah.
There's two different bills. There's the cell phone bill, and there's the there's things you could drop off the cell phone bill. I think potentially like the
Even all
what
the
do you call them?
landlines,
Hotspot.
The hotspots, whatever.
even all the landlines in the office can be ported over to a different service that little to nothing, so it makes a big difference. How often you use the fax?
I mean, daily.
Daily.
There's still, it's hard as it is to believe, medical, insurance, and birth permits all still require those. I mean,
Yeah,
they highly recommend them. They still figure that, they still think that's the safest method.
yeah, no, yeah.
Do I like it? No, I don't like it at all. But that's the reason we've kept it on. That's $25 a month for the fax fees, which is pretty cheap. Maybe you could do better, I don't know.
It would also be a good idea to get a second bid. Just for comparison.
Yeah. Just kind of tabling it for now to get more information and kind of either way move it closer to discussion towards the budget meeting anyways. Yeah.
Sounds like it, I think.
All right, maybe soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're asking me.
I'm asking everybody.
We'll be in touch regardless to kind of go over some of the spreadsheet items.
Yeah, just let me know. Here to consult, help you guys with your IT, however you need. So,
Perfect.
thanks for the time.
Yeah, thanks for stopping.
Thanks for coming in.
Sorry, it was a long one tonight.
Well, we're here for it. Have a good night.
You too. All right. Number 14, discuss possible action, approve transfer of $25,000 from general account to the park account for the 2026 pool season. Can I get a motion to approve the transfer of $25,000 from the general account to the park account for the 2026 pool season?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Voting motion second to approve the transfer of $25,000 from the general fund to the park account for the 2026 pool season. Voting James.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
On to item number 15, discuss possible action, approve or deny minutes as typed for previous meetings. Can I get a motion to approve minutes as typed for previous meeting?
Motion to approve minutes is typed.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
Voting on the minutes, Terry,
Yes.
Dan, John,
Yes.
James,
Abstain?
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
On to item 16, discuss possible action approved claims.
Part of the reason you heard me mention tonight a couple of times, just, you know, the budget's just because we spent a whole lot of money this month, and that always scares me when we do that. So, I know there's just a lot of things that came to at the same time, and this is an expensive month historically, but
I know you're allowed some cushion in the clerk's office and everything, but I see that when we approved the desktop up there in the office for $1,815 at the March 3rd meeting, we ended up spending 2,010.
yeah, I don't remember exactly what was all added, James.
I see that there's a webcam and
I think it's
speakers added. That's cool. But I'm just
Yeah.
gonna chalk that up to the extra
Well, I
ability.
think there was something more though, and I don't remember what it was. I'd have to look at that exact bill. But yes,
I think that and a little printer downstairs are the only two new items that we've got
Yeah,
since I
we don't
did
get
here.
much. You're not wrong, Terry. Yeah, any questions? There's a handful of additions. The big one on the addition list is the striker. That invoice came in. There were just some big ones, and we cleaned it back. We had the striker life pack. We had, what else was big? We had the crack ceiling,
Street project.
street project.
How many more radio transceivers are we? Is this the first purchase this fiscal year of radio transceivers?
It might be the second.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's not the first.
Okay.
I think we're pretty much maxed out on that for the
Yep.
year. But they're probably, but if, once they get all these put in, they're probably 80% off it there or more.
And then it's not really part of the claims, but I didn't see anything on it from the departments. And sorry to bring it up if it's inappropriate, but have we gotten any more replies back for plumbing types or whatever, the lead study that we're supposed to be doing?
Okay, one more time, sorry.
The pipes for people supposed to put in
The lead service replacement.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
well, we need to keep moving forward. It's kind of a very fluid document. It's always, Terry,
Terry's not supposed to laugh at that.
don't laugh at that. So, are we a little behind on it right now? Probably.
Sorry, I know it's not part of this particular agenda.
That's okay.
Well, no one responds to us. From here on out, it's going to be somebody constantly going, knocking on the door and going, looking at the pipes.
Yeah, we're gonna,
And then that's just phase one. Phase two is what do you have between the water main and the house, and nobody's even started doing that. Do you want to spend $100,000 and hire a company to go do that, or
we're not getting a lot of feedback from the federal government.
we're hoping the federal government scraps that. Is what we're hoping, because we got 1 year left according to what originally came out to have it complete, and it's probably, is it 50% complete maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, honestly, nothing's happened in 8 months.
I mean,
Nothing.
I am, and I've said this before, I will get 100% because, well, eventually we'll get to the point where we have to tag people and see if we shut off, don't let us in.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
shut up with
you
kids.
hate to get to that point, but they do require, they want it.
Probably for 200 homes, we're gonna have to knock on the door and physically go in.
That's iffy. Yeah, it's just, yeah,
All right.
it's fun.
Sorry, like I said, I didn't mean to derail the late stuff.
I kind of forgot about it.
If anybody's listening, let us know what kind of pipe water service you have coming into your house.
There's one other thing, I don't know if the rest of the board is aware of Nick said anything, but the item 143, the new knives for our chipper that somebody put railroad spikes in the trash and we run railroad spikes through the chipper.
Yeah, it costed everybody $900 to get that fixed. So,
And then we almost had another incident on Monday where there were brake pads and rotors in the bottom of is it rotors?
Alternators.
Alternators. So when you go to dump a basket of limbs and there's metal in the bottom, they were able to catch it this time, but
Yeah,
the chipper is only for wood.
I'd like
Branches.
to
we have a free metal.
Wood branches.
remind the public this is a nice service to have. This stuff keeps happening. We hate to be ashamed to take it away.
Yeah.
I don't know, we never really had it until this year. Kind of like parking, there's been a couple weird ones this year.
Hate to be that one person that ruins it for everybody. So. Alright. Can I get a motion to approve the claims?
Motion to approve claims as presented.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Voting on the motion second to approve claims as presented. John,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
On to item number 17, report from attorney.
We finally got our partial release on the lot that the fire department is going on from the USDA. So we filed the plat. The office filed the plat last week. I filed the release on Monday, so that's taken care of. We don't have a lien on where the fire department is going. It's all just on the building that we own already for Eagle Facilities and Grounds. Other than that, I've been spending most of April on subdivision review, planning commission issues, ordinance review for Nick. And tonight I proofread the 4th Street easements, temporary construction easements for that project. I did notice that when we got the surveys from Snyder's, they must have only checked the ownership as it showed on the assessor's site and not the deeds. So, because I found one that I thought had probably changed, and it had. So they did not do a full title search. Probably before we have the office circulate the temporary construction easements for signature, we're going to check that deed record to make sure nothing has changed. When they did these several months ago. We also already had the other streets easements ready to go. They're ready to circulate, but I think I'm going to have any permanent changes on the land that they own themselves. We just need some access so that we can do work in the right-of-way. But there are going to be changes in the right-of-way, like trees and moving some fences that shouldn't be there. So my understanding is that the office, Nick and Terry are going to figure out a way to talk to the residents in each of these locations. We may have somebody from Snyder's available to answer questions for people as they go around, because we're sure that they're going to have questions about what is this going to do to our front yard, whether it's in the right of way or not. And I think a lot of people don't understand where that line is ever, especially if they don't have a sidewalk there that's in the right place right now. So we are getting that ready to go. Other than that, I think that pretty much covers what I've done the last month.
Somebody figuring, are we doing this at night, at night or in the weekends?
No, we'll figure it out. We'll get the day deal first.
I mean, clearly we do have some out-of-state owners, a few of them. We have some investor owners, and we do have some corporation LLCs that own some of these properties. We have, I think, 4 properties that the mobile home park actually owns, and it's not really on 4th Street, it's on the drainage district. We're doing a drainage project that's adjacent, so it's as it goes down into the trailer park. So we're going to have to deal with those corporations too. Some of that will probably have to be done by telephone call and mail. Yeah.
Since Brain's talking about these projects, you guys might remember one of the goals or possibilities is to try to get some of the tree removal done and the fence relocation done before the big project in 2027. That would be kind of.
So we want to get the
skip ahead a
temporary
little bit.
construction easements ready to go sooner.
It'd probably be cheaper to do it like that.
Wasn't the light for, OPPD gonna move some of the light poles as well, get that started?
This
We're waiting
fall,
for them, yeah.
probably late this fall, so we won't
I
actually
should get them moving too.
Well, they said that they didn't think they could be done until the end of September. So that puts us at streets in 2027.
That was the whole reason we had to wait, was
Yeah.
they couldn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of a problem throughout OPPD's district right now with builds in every community. They have a massive delay.
Does anybody else have anything for Marina? Seeing none. On to item 18, report from clerk/treasurer.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Been here long enough. Yes. Treasurer's report ending April 30th. We brought 134,674.24. Second page is account balances, checking CD savings. There's some other things that they could bring up for that, but I'm gonna wait on it. I don't have all the details, but yeah, set off field questions if any. Otherwise, we'll get at it.
Hearing nothing. Next. Meeting adjourned.